President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi said in a joint press conference with Djiboutian counterpart Ismail Omar Guelleh that the bilateral cooperation between Egypt and Djibouti witnessed important qualitative steps in all fields during the past period. He added that he agreed with President Omar Guelleh on increasing mutual investments between both countries and supporting the economic development efforts in Djibouti. President al-Sisi highlighted that the talks included agreeing on establishing a branch of Bank Misr, including the volume of trade exchange and establishing an Egyptian logistics zone in Djibouti. The President also noted that the talks highlighted strengthening cooperation in the areas of transport and port connectivity, along with operating a direct air flight between Cairo and Djibouti. Both presidents also discussed the Grand Ethiopian Renaissance Dam updates, as President al-Sisi affirmed the country's political will to reach a binding legal agreement on filling and operating the dam. The two leaders also discussed the regional situation in the Horn of Africa and the security of the Red Sea. For his part, President of Djibouti Ismail Omar Guelleh described the talks with President al-Sisi as fruitful and constructive. He indicated that they agreed to develop relations between the two countries. The two presidents witnessed the signing ceremony of some memoranda of understanding between both countries in political consultation, energy and renewable resources, and the establishment of the Egyptian logistics zone in Djibouti. President al-Sisi has received on Monday his Djiboutian counterpart at El Ittihadiyya Palace in an official ceremony. The two presidents inspected the Guard of Honor and the national anthems of both countries were played. Last May, President al-Sisi headed to Djibouti to hold a summit meeting with Guelleh. Presidency spokesperson Bassem Radi said that the visit was the first of its kind, as no Egyptian leader has Presidency spokesperson Bassem Radi said that the visit was the first of its kind, as no Egyptian leader has ever visited Djibouti. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. And now we're joined over the phone by Mr. Hany Aziz, the former Assistant UN Secretary General. Mr. Aziz, can you hear me, sir?
I hear you. Thank you very much.
Mr. Aziz, now the President received, President al-Sisi received President of Djibouti here in Egypt. He arrived yesterday and they met today, held a press conference. And last May, President al-Sisi actually went to Djibouti, the first ever presidential visit by an Egyptian president to Djibouti. Now, trying to strengthen and get such a relationship back on track. And we've been seeing a lot of visits between President al-Sisi and many African leaders, be it North Africa or in the Horn of Africa. The significance of such a meeting now, what does it say?
Okay, thank you very much for putting the question. Let me say that Djibouti has a very peculiar, interesting position related to Egypt's national interest, much more than many other African countries. Whatever the size of the country is small, but its strategic importance is tremendous and underlying tremendous. And as a witness for this, you can find in the small country of Djibouti several military bases from the U.S. The only American military presence on the African continent is in Djibouti. It's a large military compound, very well equipped apparently, which is facing the Gulf of Aden, and I will talk about the importance of the Gulf of Aden, because on the other side of the Gulf you have the Sunni, Houthis backed by Iran on the other side, and controlling this maritime passage, which is probably 20 or 30 kilometers wide, no more, controlling the entrance to the Red Sea and to the Suez Canal. And I don't have to explain more of this, the importance of Djibouti and the Gulf of Aden to Egypt. But another extremely important thing is that Ethiopia, which is a landlocked country, count totally, I would say totally, almost totally, in its import and export on Djibouti ports. The two main ports in Djibouti are the entry and exit points for the import and export of Ethiopian goods and traffic. Therefore, it's a dual, extremely important aspect to the national interest of Egypt, which is now capable of pushing its influence to these borders and showing that it will defend by all means its survival and its national interest in brief. Among the presence in Djibouti, military presence, China has established a large military base close to the port, I think in 2017. America has been there since 2001 or 2002. You have presence of many other countries, particularly in the combat for piracy in the region. I had the responsibility to study the situation at a certain moment for the sake of the United Nations there, and I witnessed firsthand the importance of Djibouti in combat piracy in this region towards the Red Sea and the Indian Ocean. There are also other countries like India, which is interested in established links there in Djibouti. Anyway, the Egyptian diplomacy and political will expressed by the visit of the head of state, President Sisi, to Djibouti last year, and the reciprocation yesterday and today by President Goulier in Egypt, and the signing, I imagine, and as I read, of a series of protocols, establish a logistic base, establish cooperation in the field of health, education, and security, which existed long time ago, but was never at the level of heads of states. Therefore, this is an important development, I think, for Egypt's national interest.
Mr. Abdulaziz, now you've mentioned the importance of Djibouti, especially to a country also such as Ethiopia, which raises the existential question of the Ethiopian Renaissance Dam. Now, we've seen the president receive the Algerian president earlier as well. Now, having these visits between President Sisi and the leaders of such state that can have some sort of an influence on Ethiopia regarding the Ethiopian dam, do you think that we're going to see any sort of significant developments regarding this file?
I hope so. I mean, if Algeria, exercise its influence, and the influence it has on many African affairs and many African countries, particularly in South Africa, we know that the cooperation and constant consultation, I would even say alliance between Algiers and South Africa is eventually promising. And I hope that the Algerian, after the visit of President Tebboune to Egypt, and in the prospect also of the Arab Summit in Algiers in March this year, will lead some results. But all will depend on the willingness and the dynamism of the Algerian diplomacy, which is very dynamic. And I know personally, I met personally the actual Minister of Foreign Affairs, who is a very, very fine Algerian diplomat who is extensive relations with international non-governmental organizations and within international governmental bodies, will bring results. Algeria also has excellent relations with the largest African economy, I mean Nigeria, and we'll have to see the concrete, tangible results of their efforts in supporting the Egyptian position towards the Renaissance Dam.
Mm-hmm. Now, sir, Egypt and Djibouti, they've signed now a few memoranda of understandings related to a lot of bilateral cooperation, be it military or political bilateral relations. But as you've mentioned, even though it's a small country, but it has very much quite a significant military weight, and they discuss the security situation regarding the Red Sea. What can Djibouti offer, or what sort of a common understanding in terms of military cooperation can both countries have?
We can offer to Djibouti, and Djibouti can offer to Egypt security cooperation, exchange of information. I believe there has been some talks of establishing logistical support in developing the two ports of Djibouti with the Egyptian expertise, probably funding also, because Djibouti is always facing tremendous debt issue, particularly with China. Probably the subject was discussed in the visit of President Sisi to China recently. Not in the secrets of God, but I believe this is one of the strategic subjects to be discussed between the two heads of state. Therefore, there is plenty of cooperation possible. Much are in favor of Egypt and supporting also the regime and the security and stability in Djibouti. In Djibouti is of interest also to both countries, and I think all of this probably is under mutual understanding with major powers active in the region.
Mr. Hany Aziz, former Assistant UN Secretary General, always a pleasure. Thank you very much for joining us. Ladies and gentlemen, now turning our attention to the second topic for tonight. Preparations are underway to hold the 6th edition of the Egypt Cannes Summit. Let's check out this report and we'll be right back.
مصر فيها 100 مليون. مصر كمان مساحتها 1,000,000 كيلومتر مربع. بس في حجم ضخم جدا من الأراضي احنا مش عايشين عليه. ما خدناش بالنا على مدى 60-70 سنة فاتوا ان الكلام ده هيبقى ليه تأثير كبير جدا وخطير على حياتنا ومستقبلنا. لكن احنا مش سايبين لا القاهرة ولا اسكندرية ولا بورسعيد ولا المحافظات، بنتحرك في كل القديم والجديد مع بعض عشان يليق بينا ويليق بالمصريين يعني. الموضوع مش مباني بس، لا، ده تطور كبير قوي احنا بنعمله. فأرجو ان احنا نستعد مفكرين مثقفين فنانين. هذا الحدث الكبير ميلاد دولة جديدة بافتتاح العاصمة الجديدة. ميلاد دولة جديدة. إعلان جمهورية تانية.
Under the sponsorship of President Abdel Fattah el-Sisi, the 6th edition of the Egypt Cannes Conference will be held in the spring under the slogan Egypt Can with Industry, which also comes within his directives to link Egypt's scientists and individuals who made international achievements in the country's issues and problems, as well as developing Egyptians' lives in all fields as part of the goals of the Egypt 2030 Sustainable Development Strategy. The President's sponsorship of the conference, as well as the 5 previous editions, affirms Egypt's desire to advance the industry sector. In preparation for the 6th edition of the Egypt Cannes Conference, Minister of Immigration Nabila Makram met with Minister of Planning and Economic Development Hala Said. Makram noted that Egypt's individuals and scientists would come together to discuss ways of supporting Egypt's strategy for industrial localization and maximizing benefits from the experiences of the scientists around the world. She added that the conference would discuss a wide range of issues within the priorities of the Egyptian state strategy for the development of the industrial sector. Makram noted that discussions on clean energy during the event would be especially important in light of Egypt's preparations for hosting the COP27 climate change conference in the Red Sea resort of Sharm el-Sheikh later this year. She also emphasized that the opening session of the conference would review Egypt's strategy in industrial financing and post-pandemic changes. As part of preparations for the conference, several preparatory workshops were held about the industrial economy in post-COVID time. On Saturday, the fourth virtual symposium on Egypt-Can with Industry conference entitled Industrial Finance Strategy was launched to discuss industrial finance strategy and policies. The conference was attended by Minister of Trade and Industry Naveen Gema, Immigration Minister Nabila Makram, Minister of Finance Mohammed Maid, Minister of Public Business Sector Hisham Tawfiq, and Executive Director of the International Monetary Fund Mahmoud Muhyiddin. Gema highlighted that localizing manufacturing and increasing industrial exports is a top priority for the Ministry of Trade and Industry, pointing out that it has launched a national program to increase added value in local products with the aim of replacing imports with equivalent local ones. She added that the ministry is adopting an ambitious plan to develop industrial zones in various governorates across Egypt, in addition to establishing 13 new industrial complexes offering more than 4,000 ready-made units with complete facilities in the governorates of Alexandria, the Red Sea, El Gharbiya, Beni Suef, El Minya, Sohag and Luxor, with special facilitations for SMEs. The last quarter of 2020 also witnessed a series of meetings with representatives of a number of ministries and bodies concerned with industry and investment to prepare for this important conference as a promising chance for the Egyptian industry.